Welcome and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. And with me today, I have, of course, another interesting guest, because when haven't my guests been interesting? Don't answer that. Today, I have with me Mike from Keepers of the Word. I stumbled upon his Instagram page a while ago, and he does some amazing stuff, very broad. It's all very interesting. So, Mike, thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining me tonight. And for those who may not be familiar with you or your work just yet, introduce yourself. What do you do? What are you about?
Sure.
What's your secrets?
My name is Mike. I'm part of Keepers of the Word, a study group of Freemasons exploring esoteric traditions and creating environments where we can practice and build brotherhood.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's a whole group. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. So what is your esoteric topics? It's so incredibly broad. Like, what is your main...
Yeah.
I have studied esoteric topics for years by now, and I learn something new like just about every day. What is really the thing that got you started in all of this? What was your, well, let's say, esoteric awakening, if you will?
My esoteric awakening is a story I've told before. When I was watching a movie with my dad when I was a kid, and we were watching The Man Who Would Be King with, I think it's Sean Connery and Michael Caine. And there was a symbol on his chest that he's wearing. And I asked him, what is that symbol? And he said, those are the Freemasons. And your great grandfather was one of them. Ever since that day, I wanted to know, what is this about? I started reading books and started studying and figuring out what this fraternal group is. Later on in life, I'll say in my early 30s, that's when I decided to knock and join. And it's been an interesting and fun ride since. This group that we're a part of, Keepers of the Word, was born from meeting different brothers and seeing that in our craft, a lot of it was very diluted. A lot of the mysticism was kind of kicked out. I understand why, but I also felt like we should be talking about these things. We should be talking about the mysteries and the hermetics and alchemy and all of these things that make up Masonry. It isn't just a place where we have dinner and wear suits. It's a place where we try to sharpen each other. Iron sharpens iron. That is the whole purpose of Masonry, is to become a better person than you were yesterday. So throughout all this, Keepers of the Word became, and we started our own podcast. We started going down that road and started interviewing different folks and learning more about esoterics. For me, it's always been about the ancient teachings, the Emerald Tablets, even going into the sagas, Odinism, right? Going into that really stood out to me. Going into all of that really stood out to me because it pointed out true power comes with self-reliance, starting with yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then who's going to believe in you? So that kind of, I'm sorry, I went into a whole bunch of different tangents, but
No, that's perfectly fine.
But that's it in a little nutshell, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, I have heard before. I recently had another Mason on the show, and he did say that the mysticism and the rituals, etc., it's become diluted. It isn't what it used to be, and that is also why a lot of, well, young men, they enter the temple, but looking for these spiritual, mystical experiences, but also leave pretty quickly because they're not finding it.
Exactly.
Because it's not really there anymore, unfortunately. And as an outsider, at least, I always thought that the mysteries and the rituals, etc., and the real power and spiritual development, that is what Masonry, at least partially, is about. So yeah, I can definitely imagine trying to, or that you want to, like blow your life into it, that you want to, even want Masonry to kind of go back to its roots, if you will.
And I think with this, I'm not trying to replace Masonry or paganism. I'm trying to build bridges between traditions. I'm trying to build relationships between ritual and philosophy. I'm trying to bring brothers together so that way when we have these experiences, it's something that you take home with you and you want to do it the next year or whenever we're doing it again.
Yeah.
You want to continue to build those. So that's why it was created. As far as the feast is concerned, wow, it was better than I had ever expected. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Yeah, it was a good time had by all. So this was our first time doing it. The feast in itself was designed around Ragnar, right? And I think Ragnar he's a seeker, right? He's not only just a seeker, but he's flawed. And you see him doing his best every single time. He shows up. He shows up not only just for himself, but he shows up for his brothers. And to me, that's what stood out, right? The way this leader led. And it's funny because one of the other co-founders of Keepers of the Word, his name's Ron Duncan. He's a very, very close friend of mine. That position was built for him. And he was able to do it this year. He was Ragnar. He was sitting in the East. And wow, it was really made for him, but I don't think he made it past the second toast. I think he was toast after the second toast. So there's a series of 7 toasts throughout, and each toast is to a god, but we're honoring a brother in his virtue. So with that, Ragnar was supposed to be getting up and getting people riled and going, but after the second toast, he was done.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, it was a lot of pre-drinking going on, unfortunately.
Of course,
And,
as a true Viking does, of course.
Yes. So you got to pace yourself. You got to make it to the end of the night. And a lot of people didn't, but it was a good time had by all, which was, to me, mission accomplished, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. It's also good to see that, Odinism or Wotanism, or at least, the Northern European spirituality, that it gets some recognition in, more esoteric circles. Because what I have noticed, it is changing, of course, over the years. There is a pagan revival definitely going on. More and more people are returning to the old ways.
Yeah.
And it's been, like, I think especially over the last 5 years, especially since the pandemic, when people really, lost their roots, lost everything that they thought they knew, literally, figuratively, and had nothing but time to, think and research. It's really been, going upward, and it's great to see that it's, getting some recognition in esoteric circles as well. Because Norse spirituality, there is a huge esoteric part in it. Like Wotan, I mean, geez, he's the All-Father. He's the most powerful, or at least one of the most powerful magicians in Asgard, in the entire, the tribes of the gods, really, both the Vanir and the Aesir. And a lot of people are still like, oh, it's just Vikings going out on raids and doing heinous things.
There was more behind all that, but with what they were doing. Yeah, they were going out and raiding and they were having a good time and they were taking but they also followed their religion to a T. And with that bred some of the greatest warriors time has ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Hands down, if you had a couple Vikings versus your average guys, forget it, dude.
Yeah,
you got to put money on them.
Yeah, no, they're even like actual historical stories of with the fights against the Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah,
where one Viking just like
on a
held
bridge.
off an entire on the bridge, indeed, like
with
he just held off an entire
thousands
army, really, of Anglo-Saxons. Just one big burly Scandinavian guy against an army of Anglo-Saxons, and he was like, I got this.
That's some balls right there, right? So with those type of stories, I think for me, it was creating this environment where we can have those stories and, be loud, I mean, some dudes brought some mushrooms and they were in a whole other realm. they were out there, right? But everybody was having a good time. That was the whole purpose. I feel like every toast that we have, every toast that we did to the gods, there was a specific brother who was picked with those virtues that was honored in that toast. And to me, that's special. To me, is if we give recognition in any organization, if you're going out with a couple of your friends and you gave a toast to your friend, right? That's important to you. That's going to last for you. That's not going to just go away, right? Well, same thing, but we're also breaking bread and we're sharing gifts. And there's also things that we're doing where we're challenging each other. We're challenging each other to raise money for charity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the major things that we're doing during this whole event. I believe we raised around 2,500, and a brother who we know that was going through chemotherapy at the time, he almost didn't make it. We gave him that money. Here you go. It's for you because I know you need it. You're my brother, and this is what we're doing this for. And to me, that made me feel good. We were able to come together to help out in any which way. I'm pretty sure he needs more help, but just to let him know that, hey, we're there, man. And I just found out the other day that he had his cancer removed and he's in remission right now. So
that's great.
Great, right?
Yeah.
So I think if we could show up for each other in those ways more and more, and I think in our craft, I feel each lodge is different, right? I feel ours is very special because the way we are with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It is deeper. It is a brotherhood. It is serious. It is something where we guard this place and we make sure we have quality individuals coming in. So to me, that says a lot. One. Two, I think being able to create something that lasts past the feast, where we look forward to seeing each other outside of these things. This thing brought brothers from all over California. I only hosted 56 seats. I'm not going to make it any bigger. I think the most we're going to have is around 60 seats, and we're just going to keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to cheapen the experience just because we want to host more people. It wasn't about the money. I mean, the cost outweighs everything. For what we were selling the tickets for, it didn't even pay. It barely paid for the trinkets that we gave out. We gave out runes. We gave out a glass. We had this cool thing, man. I had this made. I don't know if you can see that.
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
So we had little things like this. I had some runes made. I had pins made. So you got a lot of cool stuff, just showing up, having a good time. We had a 6-course meal, all for, I think it was $65. That's a deal. That's a
hell
deal.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, the way I look at it in the future, you're still getting more than what you're paying for. So that's the way I want to see it. I think our lodge sees it in a way where we're building serious bonds here and we're investing in ourselves. It's not really a loss, actually. It's more people are seeing what we're doing. More people are understanding. And maybe this type of culture goes into another lodge. Maybe they adopt that same type of culture. I hope so. Have you heard of a St. John's feast?
I can't say I'm familiar with it.
No?
Actually. No, you mentioned it on Instagram, but
yeah.
Don't think
So
I've
that's
heard of it.
That's where this came from. St. John's in Freemasonry celebrate the solstice, the winter and the summer. The summer solstice is St. John the Baptist. The winter is St. John the Evangelist. And normally we have a black tie affair where you have a 6-course meal and you eat and you drink, and it's almost the same thing, but it's not. It's more proper, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good time. I'm not gonna lie. It is a good time. I've experienced this version, and I've also thrown that version myself. And again, it's a good time. It's fun. But I felt like, man, what if we switched it up? What if we went down the berserker side? What if we said, hey, let's make this a little more wild, right? So we did it. And well, the results show that people prefer this. I think it's just going to keep happening, which is great. I look forward to the next one.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and it's funny because that is also just, family, hearth, being together is also so important in just Northern European culture in general. The hearth, the center of the home. It's where the warmth was. It's where all the meals were prepared and such. Family, kinship. It's in Norse spirituality and Northern European culture. It is so incredibly important. So it's so beautiful to see how you fit that within your lodge, within your group of friends, group of people. And what was it at first from the Norse spirituality, Wotanism? What attracted you to it in the first place? Because it is so incredibly broad. Like, was it the family, the togetherness? Was it the warrior culture, or just the feasting?
I want to say the shield wall. The shield wall to me represents the lodge. You can't stand alone. You have to come together, right? So that I think tied it all up together for me. Norse mythology to me isn't just the stories. It's like the allegories of Freemasonry. They teach lessons about courage, loyalty, honor, and sacrifice. So all of these things together are what brought me towards that culture. And again, like I told you at the beginning, the self-reliance, that's what really stands out to me the most. For me, that is probably one of the most important things you could teach anybody, regardless of where you're from, believing in yourself first. And to me, that's the base of it all.
The shield wall. I mean, yeah, that's a beautiful allegory, of course. I mean, you have to trust the people next to you. You have to literally trust your brothers with your life. One hole in the shield wall, and
it all falls, man.
Yeah, that's it. If one falls, everyone falls, basically. Or you have to regroup and protect the one who did fall. Oh, I never looked at it that way. Actually, I'm always I'm so used to hearing, it's the gods, it's the runes, it's the just the drinking and eating.
For me, it's the reality. Yeah. The reality of brotherhood is really serious when, I think people take a lot of take that word for granted, brotherhood, right? We're like, what does that mean? And to me, it's deep virtue, man. And I feel in kinship, right? Like your brother, if somebody's coming to his house, you're both going to war. And same here. Like if somebody's messing with you, and they're messing with all of us. I feel that type of culture has kind of left the fraternity, but the fraternity was kind of built on that. It was built on revolt. It was built on standing up to the wrongdoers, to do what is right, especially when nobody's looking. So I think circling back to your question of what brings this all together, what really attracted me to this, and it really does come back to believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how the hell are you going to back up your brother?
Yeah.
How are you going to fight for him? Right? So again, it starts there, and then from there it grows. And then when you believe in the group, when it's the group together believing in the same thing, wow, the things you can accomplish.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the first things that really brought me to Norse paganism. It's the honor culture as well.
That, yes.
It's, it is about honor, like honor for yourself, honor to yourself. One of the worst things that you can do is break an oath, is have your word be worthless. Just betrayal, of any kind is, I mean, we don't really have something as a Christian hell, but we do, of course, have a realm where, the worst of the worst go to. And that is especially reserved for traitors, for oath breakers. Because, and it also has to do with, literally with the culture, with the climate here in Northern Europe. it gets cold. It can get really cold, especially up in in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Great parts of Germany. The woodlands. It gets really cold there. So you need each other to survive. To survive the harsh winters of Northern Europe.
Yeah.
So if one person like goes out and does their own thing and does it for their own benefit, they are impacting the rest of the tribe, the rest of the village in a negative way, causing them to have like an even harsher winter, have even less. Yeah, and you can definitely see that in the shield wall as well, and that's why the Vikings, or at least the warriors of old, why we still tell their stories, why we still speak of them in 2025 as we are doing now. It's because those stories, those lessons, we can still, or we should still learn them. We should still learn from them. I like, yeah, as you said, like it definitely has a place in Freemasonry, and that's something else that I was wondering about. Freemasonry, to get into the lodge, you are required to believe in a what is it, like a higher divine
Higher
being.
being. Yes.
Usually that means monotheism, or mostly it's monotheism or some sort of monotheism. Do you think that polytheism, paganism, pantheism, however you want to call it, do you believe it has a place in the lodge?
You know what? It does. And I've actually seen and heard of brothers taking their oath on other volumes of sacred law. A volume of sacred law, like when you take your oaths, it's usually the Bible or the Torah or the Quran. But some people have had the Eddas there. Some people have had Hermetic books there. So the volume of sacred law is personal to the person coming in. When we talk about God, we're talking about God from a perspective of, we refer to God as the great architect of the universe. So that could be whoever you want it to be. It could be Odin. It could be Jesus. It could be whoever you want it to be. That's personal. Again, this isn't, it's a fraternity.
Yeah.
So people get that confused a lot. They think, oh, well, you guys are praying to Satan. You guys are doing these things in ritual. And no, actually, we're not. I want to say probably 80% of most Masons and lodges out there are Christian. But there is a whole Christian group called the York Rite, which is the Scottish Rite equivalent.
Yeah.
It's the other side of that. And it's all Christian. It's the same thing. Just how you have the 33rd over here, you have Knights Templar Commandery over here. And it's the same thing. So when people say, oh, the 33rd, and you're not a 33rd, you don't know. The truth is the highest degree is the third. And nobody could tell you any difference. The highest degree is the third degree. Everything else is an appendant body. It's like extra credit. If you want to learn something different and you want to go further into the degrees and the teachings, then you could go down these different paths. Is it necessary? I would recommend them. Yeah, it's not necessary though. I do recommend them because it teaches you more. I feel now that we're getting into these rituals and these things that we need to understand that brotherhood is formed through the ritual. We're passing this person through this ritual. We have to give a good ritual in order for it to be long lasting and mean something. So it really also depends on the brothers giving it. They have to know their words. They have to know their actions and what they're doing. And when you have a great ritual, you could feel it. It's different. If something's changed in that person, they're grateful. I'm not saying that when you have a bad one, they're not grateful. It's just, you could tell the difference that this one was better than the other one, right? The degrees, they're all different. They all mean something. They all have working tools in our mystery school, which you have the square and compass being two of them, right? Each one means something that to the brotherhood, working collectively builds the lodge. And I think that's what people don't see. We're building the lodge together. You have different chairs in the lodge. The lodge acts like a corporate company. It technically is. It's a nonprofit. It acts like a corporate company. The CEO is the master of the lodge. The CFO is this person of the lodge, this secretary and the treasurer. It's preparing you to build something together. You're running a business together, technically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in itself is priceless, man. It's teaching you how to do something. And a lot of people don't see it in that form, but that's what it really is. It's teaching you how to run a business together. And some folks just come and eat dinner and go home. There's a lot more here.
Yeah. I was just thinking, you mentioned the symbols, of course. I mean, the 3, 6, and 9, for example, you see that so much within, Northern paganism as well. You have the 3 brothers, Vod, Vili, and Ve, who literally, built the worlds, built our realm, who gave us life. You have the 3 Norns, the weavers of fates, the weavers of the web of weird, who are judges that you come before you go to whatever hall is decided that you go to. Sleipnir, well, I mean, he's an 8-legged horse, but he carries Odin across the realms. So, it's another very spiritual, esoteric being, child of a trickster. Even so, that's an interesting, interesting twist right there.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, came into being because of a stonemason. It's a story that I always love to tell. But the gods thought it was a good idea to, of course, protect Asgard, protect their realm. The best idea that they could come up with, which is a very good idea, is to build a wall around it. And yes, even the gods thought that building a wall was a good idea. So, of course, they need someone who knows what they're doing. So they send out word. They send it out far and wide over Yggdrasil, over the realms. And a stonemason, someone who's very, very good at what he does, responded to it. Didn't ask for any real payment, like no gold or whatever. The only things that he wanted, and there is an esoteric message behind this, and I have yet to figure it out, was, of course, Freya's hand in marriage, the most beautiful goddess of all. It's really something that you hear in a lot of stories. It's like, okay, we'll do that, but we want Freya. It's like, God, not again. And he wanted the sun and he wanted the moon. So
don't ask for much, right?
No, I mean, no, sure. Like, no gold. Just, celestial bodies and the most beautiful goddess alive. That's all. Okay. So, I mean, it's a big ask. So, of course, the gods had to go into deliberations. Like, yeah, I mean, he really does know what he's doing, I mean, but, like, look at what he's asking. How are we going to do this? I mean, there is no one better. So, of course, Loki, the trickster, he eventually persuaded the gods to let them, give it to him. If he finishes, give it to him. But we'll have to make sure that he fails the job. So, set a unreasonable time. And I believe it was that he was supposed to finish in like 4 or 5 seasons, which is, that's mighty fast. And the stonemason agreed to it. And he said, but okay, but on one condition, that I can use my workhorse, because, they also sent him, of course, to the farthest quarry imaginable. So that, making sure that the trip back and forth to the quarry would last long enough that there is no way that he's going to make it. So he, of course, asked, like, okay, but can I use my workhorse? I'm okay with the time. I'm okay with the quarry being as far as, as you said it was. Just, let me use my horse. And that was fine. They set all these impossible standards. So they were like, sure, you're not going to make it anyway. It turns out this horse, like, it was just thoroughbred workhorse. It, well, hauled ass and hauled stones in unbelievable time. And so when the stonemason was getting really close to actually finishing in time, the gods turned to Loki and said, hey, you got us into this mess. You better get us out of it, or, it's going to be your head. And Loki, of course, very reluctantly had to agree. I mean, he really doesn't want to be the problem solver. He'd rather just, sit back and watch and laugh when everything goes wrong, bastard that he is. But he, at the same time, he does like his head where it currently is.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine. So he was like, okay, fine, I'll think of something. It was at the final stretch of the work where he lured the workhorse of the stonemason into the woods for some, for a good old time, if you will, disguising himself as a beautiful mare, transforming himself into a beautiful mare, luring the horse into the woods so that, the stonemason had to carry the last parts by himself, making him not finish in time. And the product of the solution really was Sleipnir, a 8-legged horse, or, later on it was called Sleipnir. And Odin, of course, he was furious at Loki that, first of all, he again kind of tricked them into listening to them. But, he did solve the problem as well. So he adopted Sleipnir, Loki's child, and said, you know what? You have fixed the problem for us. I will take care of your child, and I will make sure that it has a good home and that that later on became the horse through which Odin is able to travel across the realms, and also that the horse on which Balder was brought back from the underworld, which is another story also involving Loki. I mean, name me one story that doesn't involve Loki.
Of course. And then if you kind of the similarities between the 8-legged horse and Odin, right? Riding in the night. And you could also look at Santa Claus and his reindeer, right? It's
Santa
very
Claus.
similar,
It is.
Right?
Santa Claus or Sinterklaas, what we have here in the
Father Yule.
Yeah. I mean, that's all. Like you could even say it's most definitely derivative of it. Santa Claus riding through the night sky is Odin on the wild hunt.
There you go. I was waiting for you to say it.
That's why I love Norse mysticism, and there are so many stories that line up with other pagan traditions as well, with other polytheist traditions. The story of Balder, of course, being very reminiscent of the story of Persephone in the Greek myth. And Balder being the most beautiful of all the gods. He is really this solar archetype, considered to be, a treasure that should be protected at all costs because he is so beautiful, because he is so radiant. I love the stories.
Yes, I think we could talk all day on just the Eddas and the stories that are in those books. I mean, why wouldn't you teach your kids these things? There's knowledge in these stories, right? And keeping your word being one of them, right? You always keep your word is everything. And as an adult, I think that's one of the things you need to understand is your word is everything, man. And if you can't be trusted, if you can't count on this, people can't count on you, then what is your worth? Regardless of what you do for a living, regardless of any of that, If you can't keep your word, what is your word? I think it was one of the most important things to teach a child. And in those stories, you have thousands of examples of those things.
Oh yeah.
I think it's extremely important to teach children these lessons, whether they're biblical, whether they're, I mean, they all teach the same thing. There's virtue in them.
Yeah.
Right? Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Be good to your neighbor. I mean, these are simple things that I think we could all agree upon, regardless of what you believe in, that would put us in a better state of humanity, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At least, better than where we are currently at.
Currently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mess.
Oh man, that's another show, bro.
Well,
That's another
I believe that it is such a mess because we might be closing in on the end of it.
Ragnarok. You think Ragnarok's coming?
Yeah.
You're
I
feeling
mean,
it, huh? I think we're all feeling it, brother.
yeah.
It isn't just you.
No, I mean, there's so much happening, and I am just waiting for everything to not even to explode, but to implode. Really.
Yeah. 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 I think we're all, especially here in the States, we're fucking tired. With all these things that are just going, we're just fucking tired, man. And I mean, I'm neither conservative nor Democrat. I don't follow any of those things, and I don't want to get political, but fuck, man. God damn. Why can't we just go back to 1990 where shit was a little easier?
Yeah, the 90s, early 2000s, when life was
It was a lot
simple.
simpler.
Yeah.
Could afford things, and
Mostly
people were
that.
not.
Yeah. Groceries didn't cost an arm and a leg.
Exactly. So now we're in this situation, and I feel community is needed more than ever in this time. Whatever positive you could build in your community, build it now, because right now is when your community needs it the most.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, these are the times when you need your brothers beside you, when you need a tribe, a community, a group, whatever it is, you need people to, you need people who you can surround yourself with, who you can count on, mostly, from who they will keep their words. They will do what they tell you that they'll do.
Yeah, I'm very hard on that side. I have two brothers, Renee and Brian. They think I'm too much, man. They think that I'm a little hard on people bringing into our circles. But I feel that, no, it's not that I'm hard, man. It's that, at this time in my life, I got requirements, not expectations. If you're going to be my brother, I have requirements, man. And if you don't meet those requirements, then hey, we'll just be acquaintances, and that's cool. I'm okay with that. But if you're going to be my brother, man, well then, okay, then I have to put you through the trials. You have to pass, and you have to prove yourself to be worthy. Because if I'm going to give my all, like you said, if I'm going to give my all to you, if I'm going to be there at 2 a.m. to go bury a body with you, I need to know that you're going to do the fucking same for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying that in a way where, okay, we're going to do illegal things. No, man, I'm, that's another life. It's another podcast. But I think, in this time, man, we can't waste time. We only have 80 years of our lives, brother. I'm already past that, past halfway. So I think I want to spend the next 30, 40 years that I have left with quality fucking people, bro. Like real solid bros. I don't want to waste my time anymore, man. Because I think throughout life, you're going to meet new people. You're going to move to new places. And you're going to make new friends. The better you are at identifying the folks that shouldn't be in your life, good. Right?
Yeah.
Now, letting in the ones that want to be in, great, man. But at the same time, are you like me? Do you follow the same virtues I do? Are you honorable? Are you loyal? Are you respectful? Can I trust you around my wife? Can I leave you in my home? Those are the things that, again, those are my requirements, bro. Like, There's no second guessing on any of those things. If I have to second guess you, then no, it's a no for me. And that's just the way I am. And some brothers are a little more lax than me, but I think you can't build a circle with weak people, bro. Sorry, you just can't. I tried it and it fucking failed. You just can't do it.
No, like the things that, said, it's not even that much to ask. You're just asking for some loyalty. You're just asking that whatever you give is returned to you as well. That should be normal. That should be the way it is. That should not be something that you have to ask for, that you have to have as a requirement. If true friends just do those things for each other without asking, they'll help you at 2 a.m., whether it is to, to hide a body, or if you're having whatever kind of trouble it is, to just listen to you, listen to you vent, listen to you crying, help with
That part.
finding a solution.
Yes. There was this this meme that I read on the internet, right? And it really stuck with me. It stuck with me because it was very, very true to the core. It was, I hope I don't fucking chop it up, but anyways, it was, when the demons come at night, call on a brother and we'll fight them together. So to me, that means when the shit goes down, when you're dealing with some mental anguish, when you're against the ropes and you feel like you're at your wit's end, sometimes a conversation with another man in truth can lead you through to the solution. Sometimes we have to have those uncomfortable conversations and look inside ourselves to find the solution. And that is where the self-reliance comes in. That is where you build that person to be strong when you give them that advice that they're looking for. But at the same time, you also have to live that advice too. You can't be giving advice and you're not following it yourself. Right?
Yeah.
You have to be a solid guy yourself, man. That is very, very important to me. I think it's very, very important because it says a lot about character. It says a lot about, especially if I'm going to do business with you. If I'm going to do business with you, I definitely have to trust you.
Oh, yeah.
If not, then we got to have a bunch of NDAs and a whole bunch of different documents signed. I like to do business with a handshake, and I do my job, you do your job, and let's get it done. And we get paid, right? But I think our cultures, you're from Sweden, right? You're in
Netherlands.
Okay. So you're in, what city are you in?
I'm in the flower bulb region. I'm about, well, let's say 20-30 minutes from Amsterdam.
Okay. The community is huge over there, right? Like you know your neighbors, you talk to your neighbors, you say hi, you say goodbye, things like that.
I live in a relatively small town, and yeah, people just, they know each other here.
Friendly,
like
say
neighborhood
hi.
barbecues. Yeah.
So I think it's very different for you than it is for us. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. I think you have it a little bit better. And the reason I say that is because you guys have community over there. You guys have places where you say, you'll sit there and you'll talk to your neighbor and you'll say hi to them. And if you're at the store, you'll wave hi and things like that. Right here in the States, it's very, very different. There are places that are like that. I'm not going to lie, that does exist, but it really doesn't exist in a lot of the underserved areas. In a lot of the underserved areas, you don't have that. You don't want to look at people. If you look at somebody the wrong way, you'll probably have a problem. Right. And I'm pretty sure there's parts of Amsterdam that are like that too. You have that bad element,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's bigger over here, unfortunately. And because we have that element, there's less community. There's less people to go to. So I think by building this and by having a circle of friends and having people that you can rely on, you have that support that most men don't have. And I feel that's what Freemasonry brought to me. It made me better in that way, where I can be something for someone that I never thought I could be for. If I can help that person be a better person, great. I've done my job. And that's all I care about at this point right now. And in where I am in my lodge, I want to create experiences that build our bonds to become better. That's it. Simple, right?
Yeah.
No secret, no fucking handshakes, no bullshit, bro. This is what it is. The saying that we have is loose grips sink ships. You got a weak handshake. Come on.
God. Yeah.
Come
No.
on, man. This says a lot about you, right?
Yeah, it
That's the
does.
first thing I told my son as a kid is if you're going to shake somebody's hand, you look them in the eye and you give them a firm grip. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
crust their hands. You just let them know that you're solid, dude. Because that's what that means,
Yeah.
And then we forget these little things that we're not taught as children. And that through cultures, we kind of lose these things, right? So I think now is the best time to start building community, which whatever that is, away from the politics, away from the bullshit in the world right now, because there's just too much of it, and it's sick and it's disgusting, and there's no way that we're going to figure it out or fix it. But we can do is fix ourselves and fix our communities and be those people that we need to be in order to build something great and have something last long through legacy.
Yeah. Like be the pebble in the water and that causes the ripples. That's something that I realized a while ago. I was always, I mean, that's late teens, early 20s for you. I just so concerned with, like, I want to create a better world. Like, I was always looking outside of myself. And by doing that, forgetting myself, forgetting to take care of myself because, there are bigger problems just everywhere. And yeah, that definitely cost me. That cost me a lot of my mental health for sure, and if your mental health goes, then, well, a lot of
You
other
go with it.
things tend to go as well, unfortunately. And I really started listening to my late grandmother from mother's side, sweetest woman I've ever met. She always told me to create a better world, create a better you. And I really started thinking about that, and I was like, damn, yeah, she's right. Because it is the ripple effect. If I'm doing better, if I'm feeling better, other people, see that. They feel good about that. Because if I feel good, then, my loved ones feel good about it. If I can take care of myself, if I am taking care of myself, I am also able to take better care of others, take better care of, of my children, to get better care of my parents who are nearing retirement age, take better care of my sister who still has a very hard time. I mean, as do we all, with the loss of our brother. Yeah, sometimes that means that I have to just pull back from the world. Go inside. If the world out there is too much, I'm just gonna keep it here. I need to take care of
Yeah.
myself for a bit.
Yeah. Take care of what you can take care of right now.
Yeah.
That's you're able, because you're not going to figure out the world's problems, man. It's impossible.
Wish I could.
I wish we all could, but
Mm.
we're talking about multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar industries that aren't going to let you, my friend. So, you know what we can do is live a life of good virtue, teach our ways to the younger ones, and be an example. Be that example. I'm not perfect, bro. I say that shit I'm not perfect, dude. I fuck up all the time, but I try. And tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. I mean, you can fall down 12 times as long as you get up 13 times.
You got to keep on getting up. That's
Yeah.
the thing, right? And
Yeah.
then you have those friends that don't want to get up. You pick them the fuck up. Pick them up and then teach them to keep on getting up. At
Yeah.
some point, you're not going to be able to get up, and that's when it's your time. And when I meet that time, then fuck it. I meet it, and it's meant for me. But until then, you keep on getting the fuck up. Whatever's thrown at you, you just keep getting up.
Yeah. And that's why it's, I believe those are Stoic teachings. Control what you can control.
Exactly.
And I believe that now more than ever, it is so relevant. It is so important to heed those teachings. Like whatever is going on in the world, in the big bad world as it is, as long as you take care of yourself, take care of your circle, your tribe, your community, your lodge, the people close to you, family, loved ones. As long as you can take care of them, as long as you can take care of yourself, in the end, you'll still win.
Agreed.
And I think on those wise words, I think this is a beautiful moment to close. It's getting quite late here. It's a few minutes.
It's time to go to bed.
Oh yeah. I have I got a busy day tomorrow. I got several people to call. I got a household to run, wife to please, kitties to feed, kids to feed and take care of course. So it's
right on.
Always busy, always doing something. So yeah, Mike, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you very much for this beautiful conversation that we
I appreciate it. I haven't done this in a while, and actually have been thinking about getting back into podcasting myself. I put it away for a minute, and now I feel like I got a sense of revival. I kind of missed it, and I just didn't know it. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You are most welcome, of course. And where can the good people find your work? Where can they find the Keepers of the Word?
We're on Instagram and Facebook. We haven't gone outside of that. Instagram and Facebook if you want to follow the pages. But if you want to listen to our past podcasts, we're on YouTube. We've had all our episodes on YouTube, and just look up Keepers of the Word. I want to give a quick shout out to Lodge 323 in Whittier. What's up? Shout out to Brian, Renee, Ron, Joe. Hello. Those are my bros. And just a big thank you to everybody for being supportive throughout all of this. I appreciate it.
Awesome. I will make sure that the at least the social links and to your podcast are in the description box down below. I always
No worries. Yes.
want to make sure that my guests are well represented too, because what is an interview style podcast if you don't have any guests?
Appreciate it.
For sure. So for everyone who has been watching, for everyone who is watching and listening, thank you all, because what is a podcast if I don't have any people who watch, don't have any people to listen? Then it's just me having these great conversations. But they should be shared, and they are shared. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Do remember to like, share, subscribe. And if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do leave that 5-star rating. It is a small effort, but means the world to us. For more on the Greyhorn Pagans podcast or the tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans, do go to our website, www.greyhornpagans.com. And for early access to all the podcasts and more exclusive content, find us on Patreon, patreon.com/. I thank you all. Until next time, I'm going to get ready for bed because it's late. Mike, thank you.
Good night.
So much. And
thank you.
Yeah, I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone. This was yet another amazing episode of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. We thank you all for watching. We thank you all for listening. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will be notified whenever we upload something new. Support us on Patreon for early access and for everything else that we do with the tribe, for everything else that we do with the podcast. Find us on www.brotherhood.com. For now, we thank you.